expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Corporation.
Folks, we're back. Steve Sanson, Jim Jonas, and Tiffany Wagner, veterans of politics. Tim Patera is not going to be here today because he had to go make a living. Had to make a living. Huh? It's about time he made a living.
Yeah.
Not like you, you're constantly working, 90 hours.
Yeah. No.
You just need to get another profession.
I know, especially after today. But
retail is not for you, brother.
Yeah, either it's power outages. Not for me either. But it happens.
So we got Tiffany Wagner over there with her little beautiful daughter, Grace. Hey, Grace, you want to say something?
Can you say hi, everybody? Say hi, everybody.
Say hi.
Can you say that?
Okay. Grace is kind of shy, and she just woke up from a nap, so.
So we're going to have two exciting guests today. We're going to have Jason Smith, who's the chairman of the Libertarian Party of Nevada. Who are those people?
Oh, well, we'll ask him.
All right. Must be a new group or something. And then we're going to have Kevin Wright, who is the VP of UNLV Students for Sensible Drug Policy. Sensible drug policy, not that unsensible stuff you've been doing.
Right.
You need to be sensible about it. Like you pass it and you say thank you, all right? And then you blow and you inhale, right? Yeah. And you pass it back.
Yeah.
You don't
puff, give, do not mess up the road.
Yeah. You don't hold it for yourself and thinking it's all yours and then pass it around everybody else.
I'm not a big fan of it, but I'll tell you, in college I was.
Yeah, sensible.
Got me through.
You gotta be sensible about it. You know what I'm talking about? Don't hog it.
Right.
Don't hog it.
Yeah.
Don't bogart.
Yeah, bogart it.
Exactly.
Bogart it. Okay. Kenny rants, since you weren't here last week, you should have double rants.
Yeah, well, I don't want to take up too much time with rants, but I do have one. Okay. One's not really a rant, but it kind of is. So, I'm originally from South Dakota, right?
That explains a lot.
So,
you don't like the heat, huh?
So, I only lived there for 9 years, but I have a lot of cousins and family that are back there.
You shovel snow?
And every time, I used to shovel snow.
You put the salt on the sidewalk? Yeah? Okay.
Did that whole thing. And it just cracks me up when I talk to them. I'm like, man, you have no idea how hot it is out here.
Right.
And they always go, it's a dry heat. So here's my thing. It's been, and we're going to probably do it today, 22 straight days of a high being over 110. And I told them, I'm like, when it's so damn hot that airplanes can't take off, I don't care what the humidity is, that stuff is hot and it is not fun. So that's not really, that's just a family thing.
PBS announcement?
Yeah, it kind of annoys me. But the actual rant I have, and at first I was thinking I wasn't going to say it because I didn't think it was really related to the show. But then the more I started thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, no, it actually is very related to the show. So anyway, it's selfish people.
Selfish people.
Yeah.
So the one I was telling you about that don't pass it back.
Well, that's one part of being selfish. And then, so anybody who knows, like, I work in retail. I'm not going to say who I work for. So
or what you work for.
They're a big corporation, and they're trying to get more with less because, unlike the government, they have to make payroll and money and
they must be Republicans then.
Yeah, there might be some.
Yeah, okay.
So anyway, we have certain leaders in the building that only are taking care of themselves. So, like, they don't understand, like, when I say, hey, Steve, this is how many hours your department gets this week. That's how many damn department hours you get. But they want to overspend, and then all of a sudden I got to try to tell everybody else, like, hey, now you got to cut all these hours, and they don't care. And then I try to do this right thing and, like, pretty much tell them, like, Steve, if you keep doing this, then I'm going to fire you. So then HR, being the PC society we are now, you have to document this first, and you have to do this. And I'm like, wait a minute, if this person isn't doing their job, they need to be let go.
But you got to document.
Yeah, so, I do. I document. I've documented a lot of stuff. So I think it's just Number one is people that don't do what they're asked to do by the person who's giving them their paycheck.
Right.
Is a rant, and then the other rant is just selfish people.
Right.
I mean, why do you care more about yourself than someone else? Like, I'm all for, Steve, if you want to take care of Steve first, and then if you have some extra, help out someone else.
Right.
But I mean, come on, and and then I started thinking about it. It actually does kind of relate to the show. Is that you and I, we make no money off this show.
I know.
Right.
John makes all the money.
But we actually pay to do this show. And why do we do that? Because we want to get people educated. We want to get people involved. We want people to be a part of the process.
Right.
So I get frustrated because I'm like, wait a minute. Like, I'm willing to help others and do stuff for others. And then...
They don't reciprocate.
Yeah, and we got so many damn people that don't care about anybody else but
That's
themselves. And I think that's one of the big problems with society. So I'm going to cut off at that because I could go on for days and I don't want to waste
Tiffany has any.
I don't want to waste time from the guests.
Tiffany has any.
Tiffany, you got any
I
rants?
don't like selfish people either.
Yeah.
That's it?
No, I don't know. What do I have to rant about? No, I mean, same as always, family court, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. Nothing new?
Nothing new, no.
All right, folks, then we're going to take a commercial break. This is Steve Sanson, Jim Jones, Tiffany Wagner, Veterans of Politics, and we're going to come back with Kevin Enright. Did we come back with Kevin Enright or we come back with Jason Smith? Who come back with?
Who came in first? That's how we usually do it.
They came in together.
They came
Kevin
in
Enright.
Well, make a call.
Kevin Enright, VP of UNLV Students for Sensible Drug Policy. We'll be right back because he might be able to educate Jason Smith, so that's a good thing. We'll be right back, folks.
Good afternoon. This is Jim Jonas, host of Veterans in Politics. We are a video and internet radio show, live every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. on Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Television. Our mission is to educate, organize, and awaken our veterans and their families to select, support, and intelligently vote for those candidates whom would help create a better world to protect ourselves from our own governments in a culture of corruption, and to be the political voice for those in other groups who do not have one. So listen to us live every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. on Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Television. Or, if you miss that opportunity, it's okay. You can listen and watch our archive broadcast by going to www.www.dbtv.com or simply Google Veterans in Politics and it will link you right over. It will also give you a list of our upcoming shows, so you can do some research and call in to ask questions. The number is 702-685-8380. If you truly want to be informed and make educated voting decisions, Veterans in Politics is the place to go. We are nonpartisan, have no agenda but to help you get the information you need to make an educated voting decision. Remember, the person who doesn't educate themselves and exercise their right to vote is only adding to corruption in government. Don't be that person. Listen every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. to Veterans of Politics. For more information regarding VIPI, visit www.veteransinpolitics.org.
Folks, we're back. This is Steve Sanson, Jim Jones, and Tiffany Wagner, Veterans of Politics. We're here live with Kevin Enright, VP of UNLV Students for Sensible Drug Policy. How you doing, Mr. Enright?
Hey, I'm great. How you doing, Steve?
Good, good. Tell us about you.
I'm a current political science student at UNLV.
Are you a libertarian?
I am. I'm more nonpartisan.
Okay.
You know, I like more vote for who I like to see with good policies.
So you're an independent candidate?
Yeah, I'd really like to see more of like a runoff voting system where we have multiple rounds versus a party system.
Maybe the Libertarian Party probably tried to get you to sign up with them since the chairman is here.
The Libertarian Party has some things that I like, but they have some things that I don't like too.
What don't you like about them?
Well, like the party itself is kind of spread out. There's like a far left side and a far right side, and they're not really like
They're not
combined together.
like gelling.
Yeah. I feel like they fight a lot with
They
it.
fight a lot.
But-
like the McCoys on the
Hatfields.
Yeah, I'd really like to see them gain some prominence though to kind of break the two-party system hold
Right.
that the Republicans, Democrats have.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, but I'm a current political science student. Thinking about going to law school.
All right.
I'm doing political science. That's usually probably something that I want to do afterwards.
Okay.
I really got involved with like drug policy and like marijuana legalization.
Is that the only one we're talking about here?
Well, no,
Not talking
all
about
of them.
some Zoloft and Ritalin.
Well, like
Adderall
Students
and-
for Sensible Drug Policy, we kind of cover all drugs.
Okay.
You know, like marijuana is the main one that's being covered all around the country, especially when there's people going to jail for it. But in states
Or
specifically
get
that
their
have
kids
legalized-
taken away for it.
Yeah, get their kids taken away, get their whole lives ruined,
Right.
can't get financial aid or do lots of things. But like in states that have legalized, there's more of a focus on other drugs.
Gotcha.
Something like MDMA, for example, is being used
What was
for
MDMA?
clinical trials. MDMA is the main active ingredient that's in ecstasy,
Okay.
and it's being used right now in clinical trials to combat PTSD.
Really? Ecstasy?
Ecstasy,
I thought
yeah.
if you went on that, you would probably have some PTSD.
Well, no, apparently it's starting to cure it.
Really?
There's studies being done right now with an international organization called MAPS, which stands for the Multidisciplinary Association of Psychedelic Studies.
Okay.
And they fund studies all around the country, like Johns Hopkins University
Right.
and New York University.
Right.
And they're planning on going into phase 3 of their trials in 2021, which is where they start to include a lot more people and they include a lot more safety and a lot more efficacy.
Right.
And at that point, they can start applying to the FDA for allowing prescription. And basically, they can get like therapists to administer drug sessions
Right.
where they give the participants MDMA, and it helps the participants to gain trust in the therapist,
Right.
and it helps them to dig more deep into what is affecting the PTSD and talk about it without having as much fear as they would normally.
I wanted to pick up from your bio, and because you kind of cut it off and went right into what you're doing now. So
Yeah.
keep going with the bio.
Well, I got about 4 years ago. I got arrested on the Strip. I got
See,
caught.
I knew a little bit about you.
Yeah, I got caught with with some weed on me, and I spent like almost a week in jail. They
For some weed?
because I was on the Strip.
Right. That's holy territory right
Yeah,
there.
they gave me a whole bunch of extra charges, so my bail was too high to be able to get out.
What was your bail?
It was something like 20,000.
Jesus. For how much weed did you have? Like 2 pounds or something?
It was like a couple grams.
Grams.
Nothing.
Not even an ounce?
Nah, I was in a bag, but I had like a weed shirt on me. So they gave
So
me
you
like,
were a
whole bunch
target
of-
already.
Yeah, they gave me a whole bunch of like charges for.
All right, let's
selling.
hear these charges.
It ended up being like a $500 ticket that I had to pay. Like it got dropped down to just a citation.
How long ago was this?
Like 4 years ago or so. So I was.
So what do you think on the Strip you'd get more charges than be down on 5th and Martin Luther King? Because it's
probably
okay down there, but it's not okay on the Strip?
Probably because it's federal gaming. I would say like there's more federal penalties that come with.
There's just basically more that they get because that's typical of when you get arrested for anything. They're going to slap you with as many charges as they possibly can, and then most of them end up getting dismissed. Now, don't ask me how I know that, but I'll plead the fifth on that one.
How'd you know that, Jim?
Go ahead, Kevin. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, so I kind of switched gears and started paying attention to politics after that.
Right.
Started to see how
A week in jail.
just it was. Yeah,
I know people like kill somebody and they're out in 24 hours.
Yeah, I was in jail in like a big, it kind of was like a big clubhouse in a way, like camp, and there's a bunch of criminals in there that weren't just in there for smoking some weed. They were in there for like something a lot worse.
Right.
Yeah.
And you got mixed in with them.
Yeah, and I'm thinking how crazy it is that this happens to regular people.
Right.
And if someone doesn't know how to possibly navigate the system, or if someone gets affected by the system, then they can have a lot worse repercussions happen.
Okay.
So, Kevin, the one question I have to ask you is because, like, certain people on this show and John have criticized me because I am actually critical of actually legalizing it, but I've never been against decriminalization of it because I do think that you are right. Some of these. If you get caught with a little bit of weed on you, like literally, is it worth the cost to taxpayers and everything else to incarcerate someone like you for a week.
At $140 a day.
Yeah, so for me, I've always been for decriminalizing it, and I think the penalties are a little too harsh and those things. But so, where's your stance? I'm assuming you're for legalizing recreational.
I am definitely,
Because I'm
first
making
of all,
an assumption. So.
Yeah, I'm definitely first of all for decriminalization.
Right.
I think legalization is something that needs to happen, but I'm definitely for a decentralized, a less monopolized system that we have.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Like Oregon has a system that's set up that allows regular people to start a cultivation facility and grow maybe in their homes or somewhere else, and it opens the system a lot, opens the market up.
So it's basically kind of like with alcohol then. As long as it can be, it's legal to drink as long as it's done responsibly, and if it's not done responsibly, then there's repercussions for it. So what do you think should be done? One of the problems I have with the I'm for decriminalization. One of the problems I have with the recreational use is because there's just not enough study that has been done to tell, like, and again, I'm making an assumption, but someone like yourself that might be a regular user of marijuana, or, you know, and I'll be honest with the listener, someone like myself that's a regular user of alcohol, if I went to a bar and I had 4 or 5 beers in, say, a couple hours, I would feel fine because I do have a high tolerance because I'm a regular user. So I wouldn't feel as though like I was risking anybody, you know, if I went out on the road. But like the science isn't really there with weed yet. So that's my issue is like do you know what kind of monitoring system they have in the state of Nevada to make sure that it is responsible?
And that's one of the issues we have to deal with is we don't have sound science for it yet.
Right.
And with it just being legalized in multiple states, it allows more access to to science. Before, like, there was a lot of federal barriers, a lot of federal departments wouldn't allow that research to happen. There's a few studies outside the country, like one specifically from Europe, that showed there was no significant change in impairment when people smoke, like when people are regular users.
Right.
But it's also, I feel like laws like that, we should judge people based on their actions. Like, so say if someone goes and gets into an accident, then we should charge them for that accident.
Right.
If they hurt someone, we should charge them for hurting that person.
That makes sense.
And not adding like an additional charge for something else.
For possession or something.
Yeah, you know, because that makes it so that we could add anything on there if we want, you know, and I think we should judge people on actions.
You gotta like jump in because me and Jim, we just
Well, you know, I'm a guest, so
jump
or
in
like
all the
just a helper,
time.
so I don't want to consume airtime.
No, you're fine.
I don't really have too many questions. What's the difference in decriminalization and legalization? What is the
Decriminalization is basically taking away jail time, taking away criminal penalties, whereas legalization would be setting up a regulatory system to allow for the sale and production of it and collect taxes.
So I want to know the different strain of marijuana and exactly what they do.
Well, basically the main two.
What happens if I want to have a good time and have one of those crazy parties? Which would be the preferred marijuana use for that?
I'm a fan of sativas.
Oh, sativa all the way? Isn't that the energy one?
Yeah, it's the one they have. Like there's certain terpenes. Terpenes. They're like they're plant oils that add on to the chemicals that affect you as well. Besides THC, so like pinene is a terpene that gets your mind going. It helps you remember better and helps you concentrate.
And it opens your lungs. Pinene.
No fun.
And terpenes are found in other things too. Besides just cannabis, they're found in different plants around the
terpenes.
Do you know? Have you ever listened to? And it just dawned on me. I believe his name is Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Yeah, my brother listens to him a lot, and he's told me a lot about him. So he's he's a little more extreme though. Like he's down for all the everything basically.
Yeah.
Like Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy. But one of the things that I want to say, Kevin, that I do agree with, and just like anything else, I was firmly against it. And as time goes on and there's more research and I think about things more,
You voted for judges, right?
I feel I feel like I have a right to change my opinion as I get more in. Want to get more educated on it. One of the things that I liked what you had said was, as certain states start to legalize it, so you got Nevada, you got Colorado, you got Oregon. One of the things that I'm really big on is decentralization of power, period. I'm huge on the 10th Amendment. I think that states deserve power, and more power than the federal government. So like when you have like Nevada, Oregon, and Colorado, and there's a couple others, so we're kind of like an incubator, so to speak, for what works and what doesn't work. So maybe what's happening in Colorado, they're learning from their mistakes, and then Oregon may learn from theirs, and then us, and then like when you combine all that knowledge, and maybe then at that point you can put it on the federal level as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
So that's something that I've kind of changed my direction on, because I was adamantly opposed to the legalization of marijuana in the beginning, just because I did really think it was more of a gateway drug, and as somebody that is a regular user of alcohol, I just didn't want to make sure. I'm really concerned about youth, like getting involved in anything that is mind altering at all.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my biggest concern. So you being a student at UNLV and everything, what would you say, because you're for responsible use, so I'm sure on a college campus, and I just admitted to the same as well, like we haven't always been responsible with the use. What do you reach out to other people on campuses that are regular users and maybe aren't being responsible?
Yeah, that's definitely a major aspect that SSDP likes to work towards. Like we call it harm reduction. So not just for cannabis, but for all drugs, we try to educate people on responsible use, on the actions they should take when they're actually doing certain drugs, and how to stay safe. We
Give us
also
an example of sensible drug policy for smoking marijuana.
a sensible drug policy for smoking marijuana would be no criminal penalties. Obviously, allowing people to possess it, allowing people to cultivate it. As far as smoking, that should be kind of based on where you are. Like in a private residence, private company, you should be able to dictate if they want people to do that or not.
Almost like cigarette laws, kind of.
Yeah, like cigarette laws.
Yeah.
Do you think you should be able to smoke it publicly, or you think it should just stay privately?
I think, like, on the Strip, we are allowed to drink alcohol, so I think it would make sense that we're allowed to smoke on the Strip, especially us being a tourism city. We want to have people to have that luxury out there. I think maybe I think we should have it kind of like cigarettes. People allowed to smoke cigarettes outside, they should also
like
be able to smoke
vape?
cannabis.
The
Yeah,
one that you can't smell?
correct, yeah, like vapes.
Okay.
That makes sense.
And pretty much like the main active ingredients get go into your system almost immediately. So even if people are smoking and they're blowing it out, the way the smoke dissipates is so minute that the secondhand smoke is not really going to affect people in the way that a lot of people think it might.
Yeah, because if you're just like, and you can smell it, like it. I've only gotten in contact once, and that was legitimate because I was on a boat, inside a cabin in a boat.
Yeah.
And so I knew that was going to happen.
Like a locked enclosure.
Right.
So how many members do you have for your organization?
We have about 5 active members and about, I'd say, 10 to 20 inactive volunteer
UNLV
members.
students?
Yeah, we also have some other people that are in the community. We have some CSN students that help out.
So you still enroll in UNLV?
Yes.
UNLV, right?
Can I ask you a question real quick? So when I was reading about you online, or I was reading about UNLV, it's like even if you have a medical marijuana card and a prescription, you can't smoke if you live in the dorm, or you can't smoke anywhere on campus. Is that right? And is that what you guys are kind of up against?
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of ridiculous.
That's something that we
Because
want
if
to
somebody has a
change.
prescription for Adderall, can they take Adderall?
Yeah.
And they can have it in their dorm room.
Yep.
That's fine, right?
They're allowed to
They
have
probably
any
crush it up and snort it and give it to their friends, but you can't smoke any pot.
Right.
So anyway, so that's what you guys are kind of up against, and you're okay with that.
Yeah, and we still have like UNLV policies from like the 80s when
Right.
after the Controlled Substances Act, and it's just like we're trying to change those policies.
Can people smoke cigarettes on the UNLV campus or in their dorm rooms? Just curious.
They are trying to get people to stop smoking cigarettes.
But technically.
So, but I'm not 100% sure. I know there's been a lot of controversy on it. I'm not sure if they banned it or not, but I have not really seen people smoking cigarettes on campus.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
when I walk around, I don't really notice
There's
it.
probably not much of it, but I was just curious, like how much of your liberties can they, I mean, you pay to live there, you pay to go to school there, and if you have a prescription, I don't understand why you're not allowed to take it, And MDMA, speaking of MDMA, that was actually an antidepressant, wasn't it? Back in the 60s or 50s?
They used to use it, like therapists used to use it with couples counseling because it would help couples be more honest and be less fearful of consequences of telling their mate something. So, for example, if someone cheated on their husband or wife, then when they take MDMA and have a therapy session, then they'll be able to tell them, and they won't be fearful. There won't be repercussions.
Right. So what? It takes away your inhibitions, but you're still clear-headed mentally enough to interact. Obviously.
Yeah, it kind of takes away fears of consequence of talking about certain things that might be traumatic to us or might be stressful or something that we're afraid of saying. So like for PTSD, which is what they're studying it for right now, it really helps people connect with therapists and helps them to talk about the issues that are affecting them without being fearful and without having lots of anxiety.
Right.
And it helps with anxiety. So they're thinking about using it for social anxiety as well.
It takes away the fear of being judged. It sounds like there's no judgment. It feels like after you take it.
Yeah.
So Kevin, I just have one last question. This is a brief one. Have you guys, when you talked about how many active members you have you reached out to alumni? Any alumni groups?
We haven't just yet.
Okay.
We just we started up at the end of last year, and we were working really hard on the Question 2 campaign.
Okay.
So last semester we were working on getting more members, and so now like we're pretty much being fully engaged into getting new members in the next semester.
All right, cool. Well, thank you very much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me
I
on.
want to know what your mission statement is.
Our mission statement, I can't remember the full mission statement that like we have specifically for our chapter, but as far as SSTP goes, it's for a decriminalized country where we view drugs as a health problem versus a criminal problem. So people shouldn't be getting locked up and having their lives affected for a personal choice that they decide to make with their body.
So do you go to the legislature and lobby for different policy changes? Or?
I've went to the legislature a couple times during this last session to speak on behalf for a couple bills, like for the Medical Marijuana Patients Bill of Rights.
Okay.
So like we do a lot of like speaking for cannabis and for marijuana rights.
Reach out to Tick Sagerbloom.
Tick Sagerbloom's actually an advisor for us
good.
in Las Vegas Normal, because I'm also the treasurer of Las Vegas Normal.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's no, I just wanted to ask you because
Las Vegas Normal.
But I've been involved pretty much for the last couple years. I enrolled in UNLV last year, and then right when I enrolled, I looked for the group 28.
Okay. And what type of policies you want to see change? Or get rid of?
I would like to see the Controlled Substances Act pretty much start to be dismantled. I don't want to see people go into
drugs
jail.
Across the board? Or?
For pretty much all drugs.
So you think we should have the Amsterdam method?
Yeah, kind of like Portugal. Portugal created a system where they decriminalize drugs and they give people help instead of putting them in jail.
Incarceration?
Yeah. And then they'll have safe spots where, say, if people are addicted to harder drugs, say people are addicted to heroin, they can have safe spots with clean needles so that they don't have to worry
they have
about.
That in New York. Vending machines.
We just opened one of the first ones up here. We have a vending machine that people can go and they can exchange and get clean needles.
I hate needles.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. But I also feel if someone's gonna do it, I don't want there to be diseases.
So would you be the type of parent says, okay, and you got a son or a daughter, and you go bring them over the house and have sex under my roof because I don't want you out there having sex in the parking lot?
I would think that if I have kids, I would definitely teach them to be responsible in whatever they do. But yeah, I would rather have them do something responsibly under my roof than do it somewhere else where I don't know what's happening.
All right. I just want to see if you're across the board.
Yeah, definitely.
Tiffany, you got anything for me?
I don't think I have anything. I mean, you can drink in your dorm room, right? Can you drink in your dorm room? You should be able to smoke weed in your dorm room. I don't understand that. But then at the same time, I don't really advocate the use of, really, necessarily, because I think you probably do get a better college education if you're not on drugs. But still, I mean, just, just to say it, it's like, how can you be 18 and join the military, serve the country, give your life, die for it? You're old enough and wise enough to make that kind of a choice. and you're old enough and wise enough to choose if you can drink on campus and da-da-da-da. So I think that, personally, I agree with you. I agree with your efforts. I think, I don't really agree with drug use.
Are you constantly looking for more members?
Yeah, always.
All right, so why don't you look in the camera and then, try to bring people into your group and give us your point of contact at the same time.
Yeah, if you guys look for us on Facebook or Instagram, we're UNLV SSDP. We have accounts on both. You can send a private message if you want to get involved. We're always looking for new members, UNLV members, CSN, or just anybody in the community that wants to help out.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Enright. Folks, that's Kevin Enright. He's the VP of UNLV Students for Sensible Drug Policy. Don't go away, folks. We'll be right back. This is Steve Sanson, Jim Jones, Tiffany Wagner, and we're going to come back with Jason Smith, the chairman of the Libertarian Party of Nevada. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Mike McAuliffe.
And I'm Perry Haichu.
We're the hosts of the Nevada Cannabis News Hour.
Join us on www.dbtv.com.
Good afternoon. This is Jim Jonas, host of Veterans in Politics. We are a video and internet radio show, live every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. on worldwide digital broadcasting television. Our mission is to educate, organize, and awaken our veterans and their families to select, support, and intelligently vote for those candidates whom would help create a better world to protect ourselves from our own governments in a culture of corruption, and to be the political voice for those in other groups who do not have one. So listen to us live every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. on worldwide digital broadcasting television. Or if you miss that opportunity, it's okay. You can listen and watch our archive broadcast by going to www.www.dbtv.com, or simply Google Veterans in Politics and it will link you right over. It will also give you a list of our upcoming shows, so you can do some research and call in to ask questions. The number is 702-685-8380. If you truly want to be informed and make educated voting decisions, Veterans in Politics is the place to go. We are nonpartisan, have no agenda but to help you get the information you need to make an educated voting decision. Remember, the person who doesn't educate themselves and exercise their right to vote is only adding to corruption in government. Don't be that person. Listen every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. to Veterans in Politics. For more information regarding VIPI, visit www.veteransinpolitics.org.
All right, folks, we're back. This is Steve Sanson, Jim Jones, Tiffany Wagner, and Grace Wagner of Veterans in Politics. We have Jason Smith. Are you newly elected or appointed?
Elected.
The newly elected chairman of the Libertarian Party of Nevada. Now, I got a question.
By the way, thank you for having me on. I appreciate that.
No problem.
It's always good to see you. By the way, surrounded by libertarians. The last 20 minutes, it's all been nothing but libertarian ethos. So I feel comfortable here with you guys.
Well, congratulations on your leadership role.
Well,
as
thank
chairman. When did that happen?
January at the convention. I've been the 2-term vice chair, and this election there was an opening for chair. So
How did that even happen? How did even an opening for? I thought Brett Paginis was like.
He didn't run for re-election, and he has moved on to the marijuana business, and he's got.
He's hanging out with Kevin Enright.
Absolutely. And we're a tight-knit community, so a lot of us know each other and work towards the same goals. I mean, we were just talking about the legislative session, and we had our own lobbyist up there who spoke on behalf of the marijuana bills with TIC as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, give us a bio, Mr. Smith.
A bio. Well, I've been in Nevada for 11 years now. Moved here from Southern California. I'm one of those. But I left California for the same reasons.
Do you surf?
No, but I do miss the ocean.
You volleyball?
No. Look at me. I'm football. I'm a football guy. I'm a Puck fan. Die-hard Eagles fan.
Oh, fool.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
So no messing around with that. Which ties into, I played football when I was younger, into college, and I got injuries. I lived for years with back pain and knee pain, and every joint just was. So I used.
You got to take some sativa.
I'll tell you what. I went from alcohol, which was what I used at the beginning to numb the pain, and got into a lot of different kinds of drugs from and weed, etc. But growing up in Southern California, come on, it was easier to get weed than it was beer when I was 16 years old.
Right.
I couldn't walk into a store and say, I'll take, a six-pack of beer, but I knew somebody that within 20 minutes and $20 could get me a bag of weed.
$20.
I mean, in any major city or state, you cannot stop weed from coming across the border and being available. I don't care what law or the DEA.
I know the cartels have that underground tunnel.
Absolutely, and it's not just cartels, it's people like us who say, I'm not going to follow a stupid law because I'm in pain and I need a prescription to get a pill, and I'd rather not get on a pill. So
you're on the pill now?
No, I'm all clean, clean and sober. So, and that's one of the things, in Nevada, in order to have a concealed weapon permit, you can't go into these stores with your ID, or it will eventually get back and you'll lose your carry concealed weapon permit.
Really?
Absolutely. If you buy at a local place, they take your ID and
even for recreational?
Especially for recreational. They will take your license. You cannot smoke marijuana and have a concealed weapon permit. It's right on the permit.
That's some crapola. We need to get some legislation and change it. There you go. Put that on that list.
We are working on it.
Put that on that list. You writing that down? You writing it down?
Hey, I don't need to write it down. I live by this.
So why don't you tell us about the Libertarian platform? I'm going to ask you a series of questions, okay?
Yeah.
Tell us about the Libertarian platform. Yeah. When are you guys going to start really getting people elected into these seats? Because I'm tired of these folks just running to take votes. I want them to run to actually win.
I gotcha. And the answer to that is pretty basic. I repeat it so often, it's become part of who I am when I speak about the Libertarian Party. In a nutshell, don't hurt people and don't take their stuff. That's our motto.
Isn't that like a good Catholic? Don't hurt people, don't take their stuff.
It's the golden rule. It really should be.
Love thy neighbor.
Absolutely. And I've got two neighbors that have keys to my house, and we have each other's phone numbers because as a neighborhood, as a community, I believe we have to look out for each other.
Right.
That's the essence of being a libertarian is I think we have the answers. And it sounds a little arrogant, but if you look at all the problems that we're facing, and you're about to throw a couple of questions at me about what would I do as a libertarian, I believe
Jim was going to do that.
I believe we have the answers. And with the answers, what are we missing? And I think we took a huge step this year with the legislative session, having Wendy go up there and on our behalf as our political director.
Oh, your political director.
You were right. And she actually went up there, the legislative director hat on, and she spoke at daily at the legislative session. She was asked to speak on behalf of many bills from both the left and the right. And as libertarians, I got to tell you, we work well with both sides of the aisle, and I think that's an asset. And so you say, when do we get people elected? That has to come at some point. But right now, getting libertarians elected and affecting legislative policy is the role of a political party. And we have taken a huge first step towards the legislative side. Now, getting people elected, we had one woman run for State Senate 9 and got 30% of the vote.
You're talking about Kimberly, right?
Yes. We had Dennis Hoff run, and he got 40% of the vote. Okay. So the Libertarian...
So the owner of the brothel.
Yes, and the HBO show, and he's one of those enigmatic guys where his personality takes over. He's fun to be around. I mean, you can imagine being in that business. He's very.
Well, if you have as many girlfriends as he has, I'd be fun to be around too.
Well, he's very sociable. He gets along with everybody.
I just had to throw that in. I just had to throw that in.
And I wish we could have done more in that race for him. But again, he shows that just having an L next to your name doesn't mean you're going to get 2%. And
doesn't mean you're lucky.
Done. Well, now, and I've run for office. In fact, Veterans in Politics endorsed me 3 years ago running for Clark County Commission. And again, very honored, and I thank you for that. But that's what we need to do. We need to get out there. We need our message to get out there. Wow, that was tough. Man, that took a lot of time. And If the right race came up and I could get funding, because that's a huge
Oh yeah.
that's a huge problem with libertarianism is we don't have huge funders.
Why is that?
Well, a lot of people want to throw money into races that we can affect. And if that means that beating the margin of victory between the other two parties or outright winning, we have to show that we're capable of being that powerhouse. And I don't think we've done it strategically enough, but we have started seeing we've started to see patterns where we make a difference in races.
So let me ask you something, and let's talk about elections, right?
Sure.
Do you guys work collectively with the other political parties? For example, let's say that I'm the Republican chair and I got somebody running an 89. I go to you and say, hey, Chairman of the Libertarian Party, could you not put somebody in 89 so my candidate could have a shot?
It's a conversation that's had every year, every election
So you
year.
do have those conversations?
Absolutely. And
What do you call them? Strategic politics, or?
Yeah, I don't know if there's an actual name for it, but there's a few criterion regarding that. We have to make sure that whoever's running, we're okay with them regarding what they can affect in politics.
So another question, would you back a candidate from another political party?
We are not, as a political party, able to fully endorse. We can't put the name of our party behind somebody.
Why not?
That's in our bylaws.
Why not?
Because
You're the chair.
Well, that's an everybody.
Hold on. You're the chair. You can change
I'm
bylaws.
about ready to start asking
national
questions.
bylaws. Those are in the national bylaws that say state affiliates cannot use the name of the Libertarian Party in order to endorse a non-libertarian.
Yeah, don't you have influence?
Of course.
Because if I decide to run, right, I want the Libertarian Party to be able to.
Well, and here's where we get around it.
Endorse my candidacy.
Not endorse, but what we've done in the past on a couple of occasions is we've put together a voter guide. That voter guide puts everybody who's running and then a star system of 1 to 5 stars to rate them on how libertarian they are. It's not an endorsement if you get 4 stars and the person running against you gets 2 stars. We're just trying to let our voters know if you have to hold your nose because we don't have a libertarian running in that race, here's the least worst, etc. based on this criteria on these issues.
So it's more of a recommendation, not an endorsement,
Sure.
right? Okay.
Yeah, we can call it a recommendation, but we just want to make sure that we have informed voters, and we're the only party that I know of that has done what we did across the board, having interviews, bringing candidates in. We interviewed judges too for a meet and greet to get who they are and a sense about them. It wasn't a Libertarian Party thing. We didn't necessarily endorse. We just wanted to know who these people were and when they were running and what they care about as jurists. And you guys have been talking about the family court, and we interviewed many over the last 4 years.
So you're the cause of all that bad judges sitting on the bench, huh?
I don't know about I think we've done a good job in exposing some of the really bad ones in our court system and gotten rid of them on the ballot.
So, Jason, one of the first questions I have for you is the Libertarian Party chair in Nevada. One of the things that, and I'm sure you've been made aware of this, that Steve and I both have been involved in years past with inter-party politics. We both served on the Republican E-board together, and I ran for county party chair and all that. One of the things that I noticed when I was running for chair, like in 2008, there was a real division within the Republican Party. You had they called them the old guard, right? And then you had the Ron Pauls, or the more libertarian leaning, and you still have that within the Republican Party. And one of the things that I wanted to ask is, I think it would be a good idea for all parties involved and I get into conversations with Carl Bunce, Richard Bunce, some of them that I believe honestly belong in the Libertarian Party, and not in a bad way, just I think they're more...
Not in a bad way.
But no, but seriously, if you're going to be... They've said to me, and there's been more than them that have said to me, if we would have a chance running as a Libertarian, then we would. So how do you get them to, they're Libertarian, but they have an R next to their name because they think they can get elected easier through the Republican Party, and there's people in the Democrat Party that are the same. So as chair, I wasn't really a fan of your past chair.
Okay.
Not because I didn't like him personally or didn't disagree with him. I just didn't think he was a good chairman for the party. So what are you going to do to grow the Libertarian Party to say, hey, you know what? Quit running as a Republican if you're actually a Libertarian. Run as a Libertarian, or the same thing with the Democrat Party.
Well,
You can't tell
my answer
people how to
would be,
run, but
I
how
can't
would you
do
convince
anything
them?
to convince somebody to run as a libertarian. The party chooses who runs for us. We have a nomination convention.
How does that work, by the way?
Yeah.
We have our county conventions, and at the county convention for county offices, we nominate and vote on who is running.
So what happened if I said, screw your vote, I'm a libertarian, I want to run for this seat, I don't care if you want the Joe Blow from...
You wouldn't get on the ballot without our agreement.
Oh, we need your permission.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not like the Republican.
No, I mean, just like Trump, out of nowhere, he's a Republican and he gets to run. He's on the ballot. Doesn't have to actually be.
So
I guess the Republicans through their process.
So I can't walk down to
eventually
the
did.
elections department as
And sign up
as
for
a
an election?
libertarian and sign up.
No, you have to. The state party has to submit to the Secretary of State for the ballots.
Okay, well that explains it.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
But also, you say somebody's libertarian, small L. The large L is the party, but small L means,
Right, I understand.
in theory.
Yeah.
But there's something keeping them from joining the Libertarian Party. And
I get it.
if what it is they think they can do a better job and get elected as a Republican, I would ask how that worked out 2 years ago when the Republicans had the governor, the assembly, and the Senate, and they raised taxes more than any Democrat ever has in this state. So I look at the Republican Party with equal
Distrust.
right, that they're
Right.
going to do anything that they say they believe in.
Right.
Whereas if you have, and we're going to get into John Moore, I think, a little bit later, you have a libertarian who doesn't switch from the GOP,
Right.
you don't have to question how they're going to vote, by and large,
Right.
on issues that are just substantive libertarian, strong points. It's just, you don't see libertarians saying we should throw more people in jail for victimless crimes. It's not who we are.
Right.
So I think you can trust a vote for a libertarian a whole lot more than you can for either a Democrat or a Republican.
Well, since you brought up John Moore, I told him that was a mistake. You shouldn't have did that.
Well, we censured him as a party because of it, because of his vote on the taxes and the stadium deals. But I heard he also just got a home from Veterans for the Homeless or something along those lines.
Homes for Heroes.
Right.
Yeah, and Veterans of Politics submitted his name.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. I love what you're doing.
It wasn't based on his political viewpoints. So
No, I wasn't saying
how
that.
he did his assembly was based on
Well, gosh, I hope it
being a
wasn't based on how he
veteran
was
and
as a
and
legislator.
his
That's not ethical.
circumstances
But
at the time.
I love what you're doing. I love that.
Don't hold that against me.
No. But as far as
Tiffany will slap you back
helping
in
out the
the
veterans
face.
that need it,
Tiffany.
and it ties into a libertarian thought as well about how do we best help our veterans coming back, and it's not throwing them in jail because they have PTSD and are in a car and are a little confused at night and a cop shoots them through a windshield because
You talking about Stanley Gibson?
of course. I mean, it boils my blood, and you don't hear it talked about outside of our circles. You can't go into mainstream GOP or Democrat circles and talk about this and get any kind of response
Oh,
other
I
than
talk about it all the
I know
time.
you do, but it's only us. We're the only ones that say there's something fundamentally unfair about our system when you're punishing those of us that don't deserve punishment. What we've done is not a crime. Stop overreacting with the shooting and the beatings, and recently, another tasing and beating and.
You should see juvenile court. That's a whole different story.
Well, unfortunately, there's too many opportunities out there to do illegal things that make money, and we don't get our foot off of the neck of the small business person that wants to grow his business because we want that $200 license. We want that $300 fee for this. We want to charge them for... It's like at some point, why don't we look inside and look at Sheriff Joe, Lombardo, who's collecting a pension from PERS and getting a $160,000 salary at the same time. If we care about the money in our system and how desperate we are for more of it to help more people, then why do we have people that are able to double dip into PERS and getting a public
either one of those should
paycheck?
stop.
Absolutely. And don't tell me you care more than anybody else if you're willing to do that and unapologetically cash
You know
that
what?
check.
I would like to see, because you do things without getting paid for.
Of course.
And me and Jim here does things without getting paid for. Tiffany over there does things without. I would like to see these people that are actually getting paid to do stuff. I like to see if you take away that monetary value from it.
There you go.
And see what quality of work, or if any, they would still conduct in that position.
That's right.
Really none.
You can't tell me that we need 4,000 Clark County School District administrators making six-figure salaries. 4,000 of them. And 4,000, now there are a lot more than 4,000.
Yeah.
4,000 make six figures with benefits and pensions and 100 and something thousand. I've made $100,000 a year. I know what it takes in the private sector to work my butt off to do that. You can't fail and make six figures anywhere but the government.
That's true.
That's true. Hey, Jason.
How you really feel?
Yeah, well,
Jason, just one more, like, it's kind of in the weeds type question. It's just more, well, just more for the listeners.
Right, in the weeds.
Well, what I mean is, like, as far as, so how do you guys go about deciding your bylaws? What kind of process is involved with that?
bylaws are submitted, then everybody has a chance before convention to read them, and then they're voted on in a parliamentary system during our convention. So to change bylaws, you have to get a certain amount of votes, and you know, we do it every 2 years when we have our convention to make sure that there's nothing stale, nothing that's out of date, etc.
So I'm going to ask you as the newly elected chair, and I'm not going to name names, but we've had another chair on here that I respect very much, by the way, has wanted to, like, push to remove certain things from the platform so that their candidates aren't judged too harshly. In other words, like, okay, society's already decided that for the state of Nevada, recreational marijuana is okay.
Right.
So, like, we're not going to put that in our platform that we oppose that, because then a candidate would be held to that if they ran. You see what I mean?
Well, I think you have to keep it in the platform because people are still getting arrested for having marijuana but not in their home. That's the only legal aspect of it.
Right.
Until we have complete legalization, I don't think we can abandon a topic where somebody has to go to jail or pay a fine that's onerous. I mean, you know, the average pot smoker, how are you going to take $400 from him and expect?
So basically, what I'm saying is, would you, as a chairman, advocate to tailor to push, because it's voted on in a parliamentary system, like you said, to push to adjust your bylaws as a Libertarian State Party chair in order to bring more people into the Libertarian Party, even if that means that they're not necessarily as libertarian as
You'd
you'd
have to
like
show
them to
me
be?
that it would be a growth to the party to do it, but then again, there's also we're the party of principle. I'm not going to abandon something that's a platform of ours. Now, we don't have to focus on a lot of things every single year. We've had things come up this year that, you know, there's something that we can get done and affect legislation, but it's not on every issue all the time.
Okay.
Well, Jason, I want to thank you for coming to the show, but I want you to look in the camera, and
Absolutely.
Because you need membership as well, right?
Sure.
And explain your platform and bring people in and give you point of contact.
Very proud to say that in June we gained 145 registered voters. We are approaching the threshold for ballot access without any other needs except for registered voters. So we're very happy that we're growing in the state of Nevada. We are the party of leave people alone, don't hurt them, don't take their things. So lpnevada.org is our website. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter, and yeah, that's us in a nutshell.
Well, thank you, Jason Smith. That's Jason Smith, chairman of the Libertarian Party of Nevada. This is Steve Sampson, Jim Jonas, and Tiffany Wagner, Grace Wagner, Veterans of Politics. Until next week.
Good afternoon, this is Jim Jonas, host of Veterans in Politics. We are a video and internet radio show, live every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. on worldwide digital broadcasting television. Our mission is to educate, organize, and awaken our veterans and their families to select, support, and intelligently vote for those candidates whom would help create a better world to protect ourselves from our own governments in a culture of corruption, and to be the political voice for those and other groups who do not have it. So listen to us live every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. on Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Television. Or if you miss that opportunity, it's okay. You can listen and watch our archive broadcast by going to www.wwdbtv.com or simply Google Veterans in Politics and it will link you right over. It will also give you a list of our upcoming shows, so you can do some research and call in to ask questions. The number is 702-685-8380. If you truly want to be informed and make educated voting decisions, Veterans in Politics is the place to go. We are nonpartisan, have no agenda but to help you get the information you need to make an educated voting decision. Remember, the person who doesn't educate themselves and exercise their right to vote is only adding to corruption in government. Don't be that person. Listen every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. to Veterans in Politics. For more information regarding VIPI, visit www.veteransinpolitics.org.